Kim Baker?
I'm doing awesome. How about you?
Doing well, man. I was wanting to have you on this podcast to go back in time. When did I meet you?
2001,
Really?
when I was with Panasonic Car Audio.
Right.
About the time Trey, my son, was getting ready to be born, the wife said, hey, being on the road 3.5 weeks out of the month and being home on weekends isn't going to be enough when we get this boy coming along. So I was looking for a new gig and was pulling into Car Stereo Warehouse over on Independent and ran into V. Mike Burke.
Oh,
he was tinting some cars and he was cruising around in this pretty Chevy van with sun stoppers on the side. And I said, whoa, you're Lightning Mike. What's this sun stoppers thing?
Yep, I remember that. And I do remember that. And we were talking in the parking lot and I said, well, I came back as sun stoppers so people would not know they were doing business with Mike anymore. Wanted to be a little more professional, grew up a little bit. New image. And I said, hey, I'm selling territories for residential commercial tinting. And you looked at me and said, this sounds interesting. It'll get me off the road. And you said, if you can come over to my house and convince my wife.
She's a hard sell.
She is. And you said, if you can come over and convince my wife, I will take one. I said, done. I went and drafted up some kind of contract and then came over to your...
Oh, yeah. Look, totally legit. It was like 2 or 3 pages.
It was awesome.
So you came over and you talked to Carrie, my wife, and she's very hardcore. She can read people pretty well. And she goes, what if he doesn't like it after a year? And Mike goes, if he don't like it after a year, I'll buy it back. Because if he markets and advertises the way I'm telling him to, it'll be a gold mine for me and easy for me to resell.
I did say that.
You gave me the buyback guarantee.
Well, the reason why is because I knew myself and I knew this business model. And I knew if you went and spent a shit ton of money advertising and you didn't want to do it anymore, then I'm going to be hitting the ground running a lot faster than I would have if I didn't have your money already being spent.
And, I'm a go-getter. So from day one, I was stuffing mailboxes and moving my nice little yard sign from house to house. And I got so many HOA complaints because they felt like my signs were all over their neighborhood, but it was actually moving from one house to the next house to the next house.
That was back when we did all the guerrilla marketing.
Oh,
we really...
Postcards, everything.
We door stuffed, like mailbox stuffed, thousands and thousands. I mean, we literally were putting out postcards all the time in mailboxes. And I think you called me and said, Mike, I'm thinking about buying a scooter.
I bought the rack for the back of the van.
You never bought the scooter?
I never bought a scooter.
Hey, I wanted to get clarity on that. I was like, did you ever really buy that scooter?
No, I bought the rack, and then I think I used somebody else's scooter and tried to do it one day, and it just was hard.
Yeah, I get it.
I was like, I'd rather do it in my van and just lean out the window.
Got it.
But the great thing about the old mailbox stuffers was that literally you could pull into a neighborhood of houses that were $400,000 or $500,000, and you could put 35 flyers out and you get 2 calls off of that. And it was almost a guarantee. Like if you put them in the mailbox, somebody was calling you.
When you have those big arched windows in the foyer, the big tall ones that are kind of half square with a little moon on the top, and they all face the afternoon sun west, and you could literally go door to door in a neighborhood on one row and go, hey, your neighbor just got their windows tinted. I think you have the same problem they do, and the heat's coming in, the glare's coming in, it's fading your floors, and it's making your house hotter. And they're like, oh, absolutely.
So I had the little stick-on compass on my windshield, like literally the floating compass, and I could just drive down the street and go east, west. Okay, I'm going to hit every single one of these and stop into a business or stop by a house, and just like these guys are getting pounded. And sure enough, I'd get a phone call. If you walk into a business storefront and you're like, these guys get it right in the afternoon, and if there was somebody sitting at a desk at that front window, as soon as I said, hey, I see you guys get a lot of sun, I would get the, oh my God, thank goodness you came, because I've been telling my boss all week long how bad it is and how hot it gets out here. And it was like taking candy from babies. I mean, everywhere you went, like as soon as you walk in, they'd be like, oh, well, there's no soliciting. And you're like, oh, I'm just dropping off a card. I see you guys get a ton of sun. And they'd be like taking me back home. Hey, this is the guy who saved me today.
Yeah, we actually took some samples. I think like we had a paper cutter, like And we made samples with stickers, and I would do that as well, and go hit stores and go, look, I don't want to sell you anything. Can I put a sample of a piece of film on your door? And if you don't like it by the end of the day, you just take your fingernail and like pull it back off. I sold jobs just by putting a sample up.
Oh, yeah.
And how long have we been together?
18 years?
Has it been that long?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. How old's Trey?
He's 18.
That's how I met.
It makes it easy.
I make things easy too by my kids.
Well, there's also, I got married in 2000. So whatever year it is, that's how many years I've been married.
Love it. So now got you on the podcast. Got a little backstory. You came to work with Sunstoppers on your own. You had your own territory.
Yes.
And it took probably, 10, 12 years for us to kind of grow Charlotte to a place where it was like, you know what, let's just merge.
We were overlapping. Like literally, I would see your guys, my guys would be driving right through your area. It was because we'd said, look, it's based on relationships. Because I was doing business with certain construction companies or certain people, and they would say, well, I've got a house here and I've got a business here. And so we were constantly crossing over. And there was a year and a half, I think I actually ran your territory and did estimates and everything else in South Charlotte. And I would be working your territory harder than mine, and I was only getting a percentage of your sales.
Oh, no. It was just easier for us to grow. And then we've always had our eye on franchising.
Yeah.
And so it took quite a bit of time for us to sit down and create this FDD. It's a document the government requires you to have if you're selling a business. And it took some while. It took about a year to get it together. We finally have it. We're launching it as of now. So 2025, we're going to be focusing on franchising the Sunstoppers brand for residential, commercial tinting, roller shades, and blinds. And I want to get your input on what you see that we're going to do in 2025.
Well, I think it's going to be terrific. Because like I said, I started off with just me in a van, and I was my marketing campaign, and I would get tidbits of information, but the internet wasn't really pushing that hard. Like literally paper was still king. I had yellow page ads in Gastonia and other newspaper and other yellow book advertisements, and that was like where you advertised it. You wanted somebody to pick up the phone and call you. And as we evolved, you were always one of the cutting edge guys, really pushing the internet and pushing the website and spending the money there where a lot of our competition weren't. So that kind of put us ahead.
Yeah, I'm always looking for the next door to open on opportunities. And right now, it seems the glass companies, the architects, interior designers, and just building relationships seems to be in networking. It seems to be working really the best.
Yeah, I mean, back when it was just me in a van, it was hard to spend the time doing that when you're constantly trying to go after the next, low-lying
You're chasing the next hot dog, the next hamburger.
So to spend, a week making phone calls and doing, meetings and things like that, there was a week you weren't making any money.
Right.
So
that's the thing you don't realize when you start a business. You are the business. You eat, sleep, breathe, answer the phone. You're the accountant. You're the guy that orders the film. You're the guy that orders the shades. You're the guy that goes and does the work. You're basically wearing every hat of the organization. And so it doesn't free up a lot of time to go take people to lunch, build relationships, and grow your business in that way.
Which is why I always felt like you were always the key to growing. Every time I wanted to do something, I would kind of touch base with you and say, well, here's what I'm having trouble with. And you're like, well, I've got this guy over here. He'll be good for you. Yeah. Just hire him and pay him this much, per week, and you'll be set. And then hire him a helper, and then get out there and you do the sales, and you just keep those two guys busy. And when I came to you and said, look, I think we need to get this, bigger, and we need to focus on the franchising. And we'd made it through the 2008, shutdown, but we grew every year.
We did.
The economy could be in the total toilet, and we would still grow by 10, 15% a year.
We did. And this podcast now for you and I is to show the new potential buyers of Sunstoppers, what it takes, where we came from. When you were running your van by yourself, what was a good week in sales for you back then?
Typically for me, it was $5,000-$6,000 a week sold and installed.
My rule was always $1,000 a day. You can always just turn $1,000 a day. You're doing $5,000-6,000 a week, and that's $315,000 a year. And then you're going to take expenses out of that, and then you're going to make a decent living.
Yeah. You run all the expenses through your business. So at the end of the year, you say, well, I made $20,000, but I paid $100,000 worth of bills.
Exactly. That's a lot of things people don't take into consideration when they're opening a new business. But yeah, we've done really well, and you've grown, and we've got a team now. How many vans do we have in Charlotte?
So we got 4 vans running install every day.
Got
Then
it.
we've got the 2 outside sales guys.
2 outside sales guys and 5 installers, or
Yeah.
5.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got a great team of guys that are working consistently, and we're keeping them busy. What do you think we're going to close revenue wise?
And this year we've finished 1.6, 1.7.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
More than I thought.
Yeah. So we got some big projects coming up.
Yeah.
Finished this year. So we've got that Wake Forest Medical School building.
That's right.
Yeah, a good chunk of change.
So we're going to finish probably about 1.7.
Yeah.
That's great, man. Not many people are doing that.
No.
I think we're doing pretty good.
I think we're doing all right. I like it. We got more competition now in Charlotte than we ever did before.
I get asked that question quite a bit. Oh man, there's a guy open down the street. I say, great. I hope he's advertising. And I go, what do you mean? I go, do you know how many homes? Do you know how many businesses? Do you know how many buildings there are? Listen, if somebody comes into a market, I just hope that they spend money on marketing. There was this one kid, Ross, and I think you sent me an Instagram, and it was some cowboy. And I was like, hell yeah, look at this dude. I'm like, he's cleaning windows. He's doing this. He's doing great marketing. He's one guy running around, carving out a living. He's not going to be able to compete with our army. So what happens is that he's creating awareness that he may not be able to get to. And in the automotive side of tinting, I might be off today and I want to get my car tinted today. I call the shop and they go, oh no, we're booked up today. And then I call the next guy and they're available, and I go and I get my windows tinted. So a lot of people, when they make decisions, is based on availability.
Oh yeah.
So if you don't get to the phone right away, if you don't schedule that appointment right away, you call an hour later, 3 hours later, the next day, you could have lost them.
Yeah.
And so
I'm always the guy answering the phone. Like if it rings, answer it. And if I've got people who are like, well, I'll just call them back and when I'm free, you're like, no. You gotta lock it down now.
Well, you come from an ownership mentality because you ran a business that you own, and you didn't make money unless you answered the phone. So when you have a salaried employee, it's very different. They're like, oh, I'll get to it after lunch. I'll do it later, because it doesn't affect their day-to-day performance or what they get paid. So salespeople, to me, is now in 2024, my key focus is to get into focusing the art of salespeople. You can't teach a real natural ability in sales. You have to have a charisma and a salesmanship to you naturally. I don't think it's something you can learn how to sell products. Yes. You can learn how to have a process. Yes. But to have a salesmanship, which is like a charisma, it's almost like an actor or an actress. When you get on stage, they can become what the audience wants to see and provide information, and people feel comfortable. And it comes natural. So it's not like a rehearsed script. And those people are what I'm focusing on in 2025 is finding better qualified salespeople.
Yeah. I think one of the things that I always focused on as a salesperson was I didn't ever want to sell a customer. I wanted to basically inform them, teach them what we do and what the process is and what the benefits are, and basically let it sell itself. Because if somebody feels like I'm being sold to, they seem to put up a lot of shields, where versus like, I'd rather educate you and you make your own decision and you say, wow, if that's going to help, resolve my issue. Yeah, I'll pull up my wallet, but I don't like being sold.
I understand that. There's a lot of people out there. I've learned some techniques, just riding with you in the past, and then also riding with some of the other guys, diversifying and listening to the customer and not being too pushy. My sales taxes are to create some type of sense of urgency. Like, hey, we're going to be booked up in a week or two. We got a big project coming up. If you don't want to get it in now, what's it going to take to earn your business today? That kind of thing. You called me, I didn't call you. So I'm a lot of pressure sales guy. I'm more of I want to build a rapport, a relationship. I want to have a friendship.
Yeah.
There's been many times I've been in homes and people are like, hey, you want to stay for dinner? And I'm like, Yeah,
That they ask you that. They never ask me to stay for dinner.
we do, man. I don't know why. I'd start talking bourbon. I start
Well,
talking whatever. And
you're like you basically start every conversation with, "Hey, I want to be your friend," and I
right.
I start every conversation off of, "What's your problem?" so I can solve it. I want to just solve your problem. I want to get out of your hair and let you get back to your day. But
I don't go
Mike
there
wants
fun. Like,
everybody to come out to the farm and go shoot
yeah,
and then ride four wheeler.
one of my dearest friends today is a guy that attended his house, Ron, and I've known him 18 years. And he came and spent the night at my cabin house on our cabin farmhouse in Marshville on Friday. Hunts with me, and we've become very good friends. And so, you know, introducing yourself and being friendly to me is what I love.
Yeah,
I love to be making, an impression.
yeah. You're the extrovert. I'm the introvert.
Ah, makes sense. That makes sense.
Even though you say you were the shy kid in school.
Um, I was shy because I wasn't as knowledgeable. I was very antsy and I had nervous energy. I was the guy that always had his legs shaking underneath the table.
That's the ADHD, and
And the teacher's like, Mike, stop, 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 stop. But no, I'm just anxious. Everything is I don't want to miss an opportunity. I don't want to miss anything. So I think my temperament is just I'm curious and don't want to miss the opportunity to be doing something that other people are doing.
yeah.
It's like, oh, what are they doing? What are they doing? You know. But yeah, for Sunstoppers, we're moving forward to the franchising. We just did our first show in Austin, and how did that go?
It went pretty well. The show was a Friday, Saturday,
Okay.
and I think most of the people that came on Friday were people who were looking to invest. And so they were looking for a business that they could put some money in,
Right.
hire a couple of people to run it, and they didn't have to worry about it. Where I think our model, we've always been after the owner, operator, and basically you're the guy who's doing the sales, doing the installations, and then as you grow, you add help, you put them in a van, and so you can grow it, but it's all scaled off of you versus just being an investment.
So you buy a franchise. What's the first step?
First step's going to be training. You're going to start out with Expel in San Antonio, basically spend 3 to 5 days there. They just basically are showing you how to use the tools, what you're going to be operating on, what the basic, installation looks like. And then you'll come back to Charlotte with us, ride with our sales guys, ride with me, ride with you, and then do installations with Ross and some of the other staff and just kind of see what the different things that you're going to run into on a daily basis are, because anybody can stick a piece of film on a window, but if you go from a metal frame to a wood frame to a rubber seal, it's just knowing around, like how to get around some of the issues that you're going to have to get a better install.
What about the shades?
Shades are great. I think I went probably 3 years before I realized that, I would go to customers' houses where they'd say, "Hey, I've got a real bad problem. I need you to come out, give me a quote for window tinting." And you show up and they go, "I need privacy at night." And you go, "Okay, well, I don't have a film that's going to give you privacy at night." Or I've got a really bad glare on my television, this 3 hours a day. And I'm like, well, I'd have to black that window out 24/7 to give you that 3 hours of relief. Where if we had a product that could just be lowered and raised back up, that would be more convenient for you and give you more of what you're looking for. And I had a employee at the time that was in my business networking group. His name was Harp Heffernan.
Yeah.
And Harp was the shade and blind guy in our business networking group. And I started having him help me on window film installations and just kind of taught him how to do that. And then gave him the opportunity to sell roller shades and blinds to my customers while he was there with me. And he left Rock Hill, moved to Florida, and he was a fishing boat captain for like 12 years down there. Called me up and said he was moving back to Charlotte. And before he did that, he said, "You can sell blinds and shades. You don't need me, right?" And I said, "I know. Well, I can get the sample books and sell blinds and shades." So I sold all that during the period of time that he was in Florida. But he called me up and said, "Hey, I'm moving back to Charlotte and I'm going to start my window shade business back up." And I said, "No, you're not. You're going to come work for us."
Harp's amazing. So when you buy a franchise and you learn the art of window tinting and window film and the product knowledge, you move over into the roller shades and blinds. And we have two different companies. Is it Alta, Norman, Interroll?
Yeah, those are like the three that we use
And we have a training program set up with one or two
with Norman.
with Norman. Okay, and so they would go there and learn.
It's 2 or 3 days there, basically learning the product. It's not really an installation training. I think it's more about learning the product and when you would use certain types of product, and that way you can ask the right questions to the customers and limit the number of books that you're having to show the customer.
What's our percentage of film versus shades?
I would say we're probably 60 film, 40 shades right now.
You think that shade business is going to increase over time?
I do. We have not been pushing it. We just really started marketing it in the last 2 years.
Yep. So it's going to grow.
Yes. I think we've sold probably close to 12 or 13,000 just in the last 3 days here in Charlotte.
Oh, wow.
So it's growing. And then we have a great relationship with Insaroll, which has national accounts like Discount Tire, Chipotle. We do like Smash Burgers. We did a Perry Steakhouse up in Raleigh.
Right.
So this relationship that we have with them, basically we go measure and install the shades. We're not getting the markup on the shades, but we're getting the labor, which I'm perfectly happy. We just did a Chipotle in Hickory, which is about an hour away from Charlotte. And Harp and I went up there, spent 2 hours putting up shades. I'd spent maybe 20 minutes before measuring another trip. So 2 trips, probably a total of 3 hours worth of work, and we pocketed $1,700 in labor on that.
That's crazy.
I mean, it's quick and easy. Good. And it doesn't require me to advertise anything. It's just a phone call from them.
Thank you, Ken.
You're welcome. I'll give you that.
That's awesome, man. Good for you. I know you work your ass off. We're going to get you out of the field as much as we can in 2025 so you can go sell franchises.
Well, we'll get them boys busy. I didn't have any free people this week. I had to go and do it myself.
Oh, poor baby.
I like putting up shades. It's a piece of cake.
Yeah, I know. You're tall, though. So you move into the process of learning the product, learning the shades, learning the tint, learning how to build the infrastructure. You get a van. We upfit the van with a certain luggage type package in the back. And we also put a couple different wrap options. We've got a mild wrap version, which is a little less expensive, which is decals and letters. And then we've got one that's kind of a half wrap, and then we've got a full wrap. So it depends on the budget of the people that join. We can give you 3 options on what you want to do with the van. And then when you hit the ball rolling in your territory, we have strategy, marketing, and things in place, and we will ride with you for a day or two and try to, once they get leads and get a bunch of things, we'll go out.
So once they get some things lined up on their calendar, they've got some installs, they've got some estimates, we'll go out and spend a couple of days riding around, kind of see what their process is, see how their installation's going, and see what we need to do to fine tune it.
What do you think the turnaround time is from when a guy meets you, says, I want one, makes the commitment, to having him in the van ready turnkey? What do you think the timeline is at?
I mean, from the time that when I bought my franchise or our licensing agreement, I think in 60 days I was out doing sales and installations. And the first week I was out, I sold a job that was probably $3,500, $4,500, and it was all individual panes. And I said, I need help because there's like 350 panes that I need to get done. And it's definitely slow going.
Did I help y'all now?
You did. You sent me some help.
Did I come or did somebody else?
I think you came out for maybe a day, but I think most of the guys were from the automotive side that were helping me out. But we showed the customer, we're like, hey, this is what it's going to look like. It's not going to be the prettiest thing in the world because we're dealing with wood frames and things like that.
But setting expectations is key.
Set expectations is always key.
Yep. But now we're looking forward to it. The cost of entry, what's our franchise fee?
$35,000.
$35,000
is your territory and your franchise fee. Some other places is a separate franchise fee and territory fee.
Good. And then we have a marketing department that will handle your Google ads, your Facebook ads, your content creation. We've done home mag, like your magazine monthly mailers. They have home advisor. There's a lot of different tactics that I guess we can sit down with the new potential buyer and say, okay, we've seen success here, 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 and here. But it's like the more seeds you can plant, obviously, but you don't want to suck up all of your budget all at once. So you don't want to go crazy. But if you want to keep it on a budget, man, we can always put yard signs and people's yard
flyers and wires. Yeah. It's just a matter of how much legwork you want to do. You can either pay for that advertising or you can go out and knock on doors. And have customers that we've had for years that literally I was driving past a shopping center and saw a dumpster out there doing an upfit on a, dentist office or some type of restaurant. And I just stop in, say hi, hand out a card. And I get phone calls from these people day in and day out. We're doing probably $10,000 for a construction company this month alone. That was a card that I handed out when I stopped and saw a dumpster sitting in front of a storefront.
That's crazy. Moving forward, for a franchise owner, how long did it really take you to build your area enough to where you needed help?
Probably that first year.
First year?
Yeah. First year I was doing as much as I could in sales and installations by myself. And I needed an extra hand just to make things go smoother.
Right.
And I found that, training that person and trying to, educate them on how to do the things I needed them to do. I needed them to clean the windows ahead of me, and I needed them to clean up after me, and I needed them to put film back in the van, and I needed them to.
How long did it take you to get that person up to speed?
Maybe 20 days.
So less than a month.
Yeah,
less than a month.
They weren't tinting windows at that point.
But in a month, you can, if you had to leave at like 1 o'clock to go do another estimate and you had to come back to that job, you could leave them there.
That was probably a month and a half where they were actually doing installations.
So within 2 months, you can leave an installer, have them at a house, and you go, hey man, I need to leave. I'm gonna go do an estimate in a house not too far away. Then you come back, make sure the project's wrapped up, clean it up, that kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you start doing that?
I did. So we would usually go drop him off, get the film that he needed, and then I would go to the next job, and we'd be both doing jobs all day long. So we have
if you were financially set, you just would have bought him another van.
Oh yeah.
Looking back,
which I did get to.
Right. So looking back, you would have been like, hey, if I would have bought a little cheaper van, you think if you were busy enough, you could have bought another van and put that guy in a van 30 days.
Yeah.
Not 39, within 90 days maybe.
The thing that I found having a helper and somebody who could actually do window tinting is the two of us on a job site could get the job done in like 2.5 times faster than just one person doing it. So literally we could do 3 houses in a day together, where if we split, we would both be doing 1 house each.
Got it.
So it goes fast.
More efficient, actually.
It's more efficient when you have 2 people there. It almost slows you down to be by yourself.
Right. Well, that's good to know.
Because I was always thinking, it's weird that you can have 2 people. You would think you double production, but it's actually like 2.5 times the production with 2 people.
That's good knowledge to know. Who's been like your bread and butter? Like when you first started, like did you have like a certain client that gave you multiple jobs or multiple work, or was there a certain neighborhood that you go back to over and over and be like, oh, I'm in this neighborhood every week?
So for me, it was the 55 plus communities.
Really?
So I would get in there and, you'd meet the sweet old grandma and she would be like, oh, thank you so much for tinting my window. I sit in front of this window all day long because I'm retired, and you'd tint that one window. And they would tell 10 people at the next little party that they had.
Why are they tinting the window? Why?
Because it was hot.
It mainly just hot.
It was just heat.
Was it glare?
Not glare.
TV.
They
mainly heat.
Just heat. Most of these 55 older, communities back in the day, the glass was cheap. Everything the builders were cheap. So anything you could do to reduce the amount of heat that was coming in just where they were sitting. They didn't need to do the whole house. They would want to do like one bank of windows.
Sometimes I walk in the door and I'm like, why am I here? What do you want to accomplish with this film on your window? I can't see my TV from 4 to 7 o'clock at night. Perfect. I got a little darker film, a little more high refractive film. It's going to give you some shades, give you some glare reduction. Everyone's got a reason why they want something done.
And you can usually get that down in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I'd say and I would walk in and I'd say, what kind of issues are we having with the sun? And like literally they would say, oh, it's so hot, or, oh, it's just so bright.
I say, what's in the fridge? Hey, what's for dinner? And I think I walk in and I go, what's for dinner?
And they would feed you too if they let
it. Man, I'm a big angry guy.
But I would take the yard sign and put it in that 55 plus community.
Yeah.
And I would move it from that house to 2 houses down to their next friend. And then I would move it 2 houses down from that. And
then I had the little old lady a discount if she called her neighbor.
Every once in a while I would say I'll give your friend a discount if you, tell them you referred me and
call Betty down the street.
But usually they call me up and say, hey, Betty wants to have a storm door done. And you're like, great, I'm going to drive.
If you call her now, I'll give it to her at a really good deal. But if you call me next week, I'm going to be like, bro, I got to come late. Yep. sweet lady, I got to drive all the way home, all the way back out here, and that's a trip charge.
Oh yeah, but
Did you have a minimum back there?
back then I didn't.
No, me either.
I think $75.
Now it's what, 150?
It's $275, my friend.
No, bro. See, I'm so out of the word, man. That's crazy. We're $275 minimum.
You gotta pay somebody. It's not me.
Names are expensive.
Our time was cheap.
Yeah.
These guys are expensive these days.
No, what happened to labor?
It got expensive.
Dude, and Trump wants to close the border. I'm like, fuck no, let them in. They want to work.
Diablo Espanol is not my number one.
No, it's the Hondurans, Haitians. I mean, all the countries that are, really, really bad. They want to come because I'll meet guys that do some work at my house. And I was like, where are you from, bro? Because I'm thinking they're Latino Mexicans, right? I think they're from Mexico. He goes, no, I'm from Honduras. Don't insult me by telling me I'm from Mexico. I'm like, holy shit, I didn't know it was that bad. And then my buddy, he's like my brother, Boston Rob. I talked to him this morning, and he was like, man, the Brazilians are just taking over in Boston. And I'm like, well, start hiring them.
Yeah, the thing that most people don't understand is that they're taking less, they're getting paid less, but they've got 6 or 7 people sharing the payments for everything.
Right.
So you, instead of like in our normal generation, like, okay, let's say there's 2 people living in the house. Well, those 2 people's income is going to pay for that house. They've got
both driving cars,
and they've got 6 or 8 people living in that house,
right?
All contributing.
Car.
Yeah, and they got one car.
And Darwin is from Honduras, and he does a lot of work at our shop, doing maintenance and different handyman type things. And he bring 4, 5, 6 guys. And I'm like, where do you get all these guys from? He's like, oh, that's my cousin, and then my uncle, and then that's my uncle's brother.
And they all live together.
They all live in the same place, man. It's crazy. I'd like to see how they design the bedrooms. Like, does everybody have like a triple bunk bed or something like that? One guy sleeping in the ceiling?
I think you sleep feet to face
wherever you can. It's crazy, but we need workers. And the thing I like to look for is, if you're in the military and you've gotten out of the military, it's very difficult sometimes to go get like a job.
Yeah.
Because they don't know what to do. They've been in the military for 10, 15, 20 years, and they're like getting out, and they're like, where do I go? What's my next career path? Retired firefighters, retired policemen. It just seems like if they're a hardworking individual that has some structure to their life, this is a very good opportunity for them to jump into a business that doesn't cost too much to get started. You can go get a car, like a car payment, a van payment, for, $500 a month, for a van.
And that's a couple of storm doors.
You tint 2 storm doors a month, pays for the van. Then you get some marketing, and then you've got to do the labor and some sales, but it grows.
Yeah.
I feel very confident that when I said I will buy yours back, I was confident.
You can't have it.
Oh, well, I'll buy mine. I would.
He's been trying to buy it for a year.
Yeah, I've offered you every year. I think every year for the last 10 years, I've offered to buy it back.
Yeah.
It's the biggest mistake. It was
I keep telling my wife, I said, Michael, write me a nice big check and I can retire and go play tennis and golf. And she goes, you need a J-O-B.
Yeah, I know. And the thing is, I've had multiple offers on the Sunstoppers brand in all the stores. And I'm just like, then what would I do? The thing is, I'm still having fun. I love the growth, and I don't want to ever sell the brand or the model Sunstoppers because it's what I enjoy. It gives me the platform to sell. It gives me the platform to meet new people. It gives me the platform to hire new people, train, grow, build new relationships. And my son is now involved in the business. My girlfriend, my ex-wife, it's a family. And I still look at this as a family ran business.
It is. And I think a lot of your employees felt like they were family, and sometimes that didn't go so smoothly.
I can't be dad to everybody.
You can't be dad to everybody.
And I did remember when I had children that I had to whoop their ass every once in a while too, and they straighten back up. So I got to remember that the people that work in this company, I got like, all right, get my belt out. How old are you?
But I think you and I have always been on the same page that Sunstoppers could be something bigger.
It's going to be big. It's going to be really big, and it takes effort. And I always feel like there's 1,000 little problems that have created like a big cut that kept me away from really focusing. And I feel like now was the right time. I feel like we've got the right strategic partner with Expel. I feel like we've got some help there, and they're going to work very hard to get better. and they're willing to put the money and the dollars in behind this effort of what we call the residential commercial films. And we've learned a lot. And I wasn't really always ready. You know, when people go, oh, you know, you're going to start, I was like, it's like having a child. Are you ever really ready to have a child? I mean,
Yeah.
do you have the right job, the right house? No, you're never really ready until you do it. So it was time.
I feel like we're on our second or third kid now. It's like cruise control.
It is. I agree. And very fortunate to have you as a great business partner. We work well together. Neither one of us are greedy, and neither one of us want to hurt each other. So I think that's been probably the basis.
No, and usually, I mean, the other thing that Mike and I have done over the years is, I think of probably 2 or 3 years into me running my territory, I kept getting phone calls for automotive, and the closest shop Mike had was clear across town. And Charlotte is not super fun to drive across town, and customers weren't willing to do it. So I had told Mike, I was like, look, I found this, rickety old building
That's right.
that's in the parking lot with an auto bell. And I said, I've got a little bit of money stowed away. I was like, if we could go in like 50-50 and you handle like the labor aspect of it, I'll make sure that it gets business from my advertising and my marketing. And we opened that shop up, and it's been doing great. I mean, we ran that shop for probably 2 years, and we had a good chunk of change in the bank account. And we said, do we want to write ourselves a check or open another one? And Mike said, let's do another one. So we opened that one, and then like a year later, that one was doing well. And so we opened a third one up together, and it just kept kind of snowballing.
The automotive side of it is more my temperament. The staff, the everyday operation is more my skill sets. You know, when we just said earlier, I'm more the extrovert, you're more the introvert. I think the home portion of the business is really your niche, and it's you thrive better in that environment. It's hard because I'm dealing with adolescents every day.
I thought you were going to say attitudes.
No, it's I look at it as like I'm dealing with just temperamental people that need, soothing. They need coaching. They need a big brother. They need a dad. They need, guidance, leadership, training, just a lot of day-to-day things to help them get better. And I think your patience level was a little less because you come from more of a structured background, more of a background of the corporate world with, rules. And these are guys that don't like to follow the rules.
They don't like rules.
They don't like rules, man. So when, you came in, they're like, tell Ken, man, never come back over here. And I'm like, Ken's got a good heart. He's a great guy. I know, but he comes in. I'm like, all right, I'll handle it. And,
you kind of kept things moving along. I just don't like seeing people goof off.
Yeah.
And sometimes they were goofing off.
I look at the end of the numbers. I look at the week and go, did we pay the bills? Did we lose anything?
Did they back a door off the car this week?
What bad things happened this week? No, what good things happened this week? Nothing good or bad. Okay, it was a great week.
It was a great week.
Exactly. But yeah, man, I'm super excited for 2025. This podcast is to basically launch the franchising of Sunstoppers, and we're really excited. Ken Baker is going to be heading up 2025. We're going to be going and doing the booths, the trade shows. They're not really trade. It's franchise expos.
Franchise expos, and I also want to do like career days at some of the technical schools.
Awesome.
So that would be another option where we do like some internships and have people come and work with us.
Yeah, if anybody wants to come and do an internship with Sunstoppers, reach out to us at sunstoppers.com. We have a franchising page link on our website. We just wanted to do a little podcast here to kind of explain the background of where Ken came from and how he got started with Sunstoppers. And this is a good platform for the new franchisees to watch and get to know us. Ken Baker, Mike Burke, and I'm the founder of Sunstoppers and the originator of the logo, the brand, and the marketing. But Ken is the guy that I was the dummy that basically
the guinea pig.
He was the guinea pig, man, and he's still here and he's doing great. And I promise you, he and I would buy back the businesses if you're not successful. Like we really would. I mean, from our heart.
You market, you go out
you
there,
market, and you do the steps by step by step. You're never going to get rich quick. Nothing in the world is get rich quick. If you buy a franchise, we're looking for workers that want a job, that want a career, and to get 2 vans, in 3 years, then you're the salesperson and you got 2 vans, then you could be doing $1 billion in business. It takes 2 vans, 2 installers, and 1 sales guy, and you could be doing $1 million.
Yeah. And I mean, where we were back in the day, we were selling stuff for $4 or $5 a square foot.
Now we're getting 10, 12, 15.
10, 12, yeah, depending on the film.
Well, the films are so much better.
Yeah.
I mean, the technical aspects of the films are incredible. I never in a million years knew that you could get a clear film to perform more efficiently than like Solar Silver 20. We used to have to like mirror houses to get efficient. It had to be
so dark.
Yeah, I know. It's insane. So if you got a house that's got heat issues, the air conditioner is working unevenly, there's 3 different air conditioners and the rooms are hot, call Sunstoppers. We'll come in and solve that problem. If you've got heat issues with your home, if you've got glare issues where you can't see TVs or computer screens or your iPhone in your kitchen, or what else?
Exterior patio shades.
Exterior patio.
Enclose your patio and basically turned it into a screened-in porch. But when you want to have it fully open, you just push a button.
And then you got a motor for now shade.
Motor right.
You can do it with your phone. You can link it to your phone and hit boom. You have mood setting at night at 5:30 when you want to have the mood setting.
You can come to my house and say, Alexa, lower exterior roller shades. Yeah, it'd drop it off. Yeah, drop it right sound
like that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you suck. You suck. Your house is a smart house. I hate it. I got an old farmhouse. So,
well, I mean, I can't work the TVs, but that's okay.
It's all right.
I can make the shades do what I want them to.
You know, the thing is, I'm not that smart, but I know smart people. So, but I'm out in the field. I don't have time to enjoy a house. Too busy working. But anyway, so marketing, sales, Sunstoppers, franchising, give us a call. Or go to our website, sunstoppers.com. I appreciate everybody tuning into this little simple podcast that we were doing. This is Kim Baker. I want to thank Kim for his time.
Thank you.
Ken's amazing. And I look forward to working with all the new potential franchise.
Happy to answer any questions. Come here, ride with the guys, see what it's all about. We're not put money first and then figure it out.
Yeah. We want a success story after success story after success story.
I'm hoping if you can clean military boots, then you can clean windows and stick film on it.
Exactly. If you like to keep your car clean and you have a little bit of some work ethic, give us a call. We'll put you in a career path towards owning your own business.
I was just going to start asking people, how many times did you wash your car this week? And if it's not once, then you're not my guy.
You know what, Micah? That's the new question on our if you want to own a franchise, how many times do you wash your car a week? If they say never, then they're not a candidate. Say bi-weekly.
Bi-weekly. I've washed mine 3 this week, and
I wash my truck every other day.
Yes.
If you under certain coating and stuff, you don't need. You can just.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's Charlotte's a dirty place.
I know. But man, thanks for your time. I really appreciate it. And if anybody's got any questions, give us a call. Sunstoppers Franchising 2025. Buy one today.